Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Justified Jewel Podcast. I am your host, and I am Joann Cox. We're going to do something a little bit different here on Justified Jewel Podcast. We are going to do a series, and you're going to see us on the political systems every day. And the reason behind this is because people have a tendency to talk about politics when it's time to vote. It's almost like trying to read the Bible and find out what's going to happen. You know what? We should be good people all the time, and we should know what politics are all about. And then you're rushing to try to find out about candidates and what they believe in. We want you to find out what you believe in. And I want to introduce the man that knows it all. He is so in depth when it comes to politics. And I am going to learn so much from him, and I know you will. So get out your pencils and paper and jot down a few things. But today I'd like to introduce you to no other than Brian Winters. Welcome, Brian.
Joann, thanks for having me back again. It's good to
Yes,
see you.
yes.
Yeah.
And something else I want you to know that he will be the guest every day. Okay, so that means you need to follow us at all times. So I'm going to start out with asking this really deep and heavy question to Brian, and that is, how is our partisan politics impacting the quality of life in America?
Well,
How is it?
how is it? How do we feel about politics in America, right? Some people say, throw up their hands, no, we don't want anything to do with it. We've kind of forgotten as a nation that politics isn't about elections. Politics is about setting policy. But that's not what we do with it anymore, right? When people go out and vote on November 3rd this year, when we wake up on November 4th and find out how things are turned out, it's not like the red team and the blue team is going to turn to the other one and say, "Congratulations, you won. Let's all work together now." Whoever the red team and the blue team are going to start gearing up for the next round of fighting, and that's not as people get invested in the red team and the blue team, emotionally invested
Mhm,
in
mhm.
these tribes. We lose sight of the fact that we judge success by whether or not my team won or my team lost. When instead, as a nation, we should be asking the questions like: Are families more economically secure? Do people have access to health care, to housing? Are our communities safer? Are our civil liberties being protected? Like, there are other metrics that we should be using to judge the quality of life in America besides whether the red team or the blue team is scoring more points on the internet.
Exactly. We're so divided. And I want you to talk about how we got this way. But before you get into that, I just want people to know that I believe, in my opinion, that we lose hope. And when people lose hope, it's usually because of the information that they do not have. And there are so many people that simply don't understand. And that is what happens with that division. You start to actually vote for people you like and not what they believe in and what they're even offering to do. With that being said, our common ancestors talk about the preamble. So we know what the preamble is all about, or do we? Tell us about that.
Um, yeah. So, as Americans, we want to try and find our shared values, right? The things that can bring us together. Because as you say, the partisan politics does divide us. People get invested in the one side or the other. And and so the preamble to the Constitution, maybe Joy, maybe you remember learning this like back in grade school. Goes,
Yes.
we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, we're supposed to do five things. We're supposed to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And so we talked about a minute ago about using elections as our metric for whether or not things are going our way in politics. And instead, we should be looking at these five things as to figure out whether or not politics is serving the people the way that it should be, right? Are we establishing justice and domestic tranquility and promoting the general welfare? And if we're not, then how can we do better? Um,
It's
so
it's like a stepping stone. And I think in my opinion, again, is that we forget about what we're voting for. We forget about the Constitution and how it should be serving us. And it starts out by saying we, the people, not the wealthy, and not the people, that the ordinary people making a very little income. We divide that as well, with middle class, and we start to separate each other on a regular basis for so many different things. And that is one of the problems that we have when we start to segregate in monies, in our finances. And then we throw the Constitution out the window. But with all that being said, with the Constitution, I would like people to start to look it up and to find out about those five things and put them in the forefront. I know that when you place something in your mirror and you take a look at it and you start to look at that every day, what is a perfect union? And we need to actually dig into this now, not election day, but to find out how are we going to actually make all these things come together that's in the preamble. So
Yeah.
my action thing is make sure you know what the preamble is saying. And
And
now,
I was gonna say
go ahead.
it's understandable that people get burned out. They say, they don't, politics doesn't work for them, right? That people can rationally conclude that voting doesn't make a difference. That if you just elect the red team and the blue team, that we've seen, for decades now, Joanne, right? The pendulum swings back and forth. We put the red
Yeah.
team in charge, and the people are like, oh, they're terrible. Let's let the blue team have a turn. And they're like, oh, they're
Mhm.
terrible too. Let's give the red team another chance. And then the blue
Yes.
team, and the pendulum just swings back and forth. And we as the nation, we need a way to grab that pendulum and move us forward into the 21st century, steer us down a path to a bright and bountiful future.
Now, how do we grab that pendulum?
Well, love. To sum it up with a four-letter word, right?
Mhm.
Is that so much of politics today is driven by that division and by hatred and by fear and demonizing the other side. You got to beat the blue team because they're a bunch of woke socialists who want to destroy the country. Or you got to help us defeat the red team because they're a bunch of racist authoritarians who want to destroy the country. And like first, this is a really old game, Joanne. When our country was born, people used to accuse their political opponents of being monarchists who wanted to destroy the
Yeah.
country, right?
Yeah.
We've been playing this game for a long time, and it's not a productive game. It divides us, and it makes us forget that we all love the United States, that we're all on
Mhm.
Team America. And again, that preamble is something that shared set of values that can bring us together. And so love is about seeing that in people and recognizing that we have more, there's more that we have in common than divides us. And so a better political system would use that as an organizing principle, trying to help people succeed instead of trying to defeat any particular
Yes.
party or politician.
Yes, yes. I totally agree with that. And sometimes I think we forget the definition of what love is as well. So, how can we love each other when we don't even know what that actually means? So, we would have to back up, and we do so much and we add so many things, and we're constantly learning, but with no action behind it. And we are so knowledgeable here in America, and we have all these universities, and we're going with family and relationships, and we're thinking, I know so much more, even into politics. But what are you doing once you have that information? And that is what we are wanting to bring to you today. We're wanting to bring to you knowledge so that you can think about in details, what does this actually look like? And with all of this coming to you, I want Brian to actually summarize everything that he's just said. And then I'm going to tell you how you can contact me and he will get back with you. Can you just summarize that, everything that you just stated?
I can we talk just a little more about how to apply love to politics?
Yes,
And
because
and
that was my last statement. Yes.
yeah, and again, so not to see to love is about humanizing people, right? Seeing the possibility and the potential and believing the best in them. And I know that's a hard thing to do when it comes to the members of Congress, right? Congress's approval rating hovers at around 20%. Like they are not a very popular bunch of people. But they are the people who are in charge of managing our country. They are the
Hmm.
people who are in charge of maintaining those millions of lines of the United States code that are the operating system that our nation runs on. And if we can persuade them to upgrade those lines of code so that our country runs better, well, then we would all come out ahead. We could use politics to really improve the quality of life for all of us. And we're not going to accomplish that by trying to hate the red team or the blue team into oblivion, right? You know, Dr. King said, hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And so the reason that I've asked you to have this series of conversations, Joanne, is so that we can offer people a way to apply love to politics, and that we can do what Dr. King was doing when he was assassinated, which is unionize. We can organize around a set of principles, around a set of policies, and that we can demand Congress, red team and blue team alike, enact those policies before the election. That we can offer to help the red team and blue team, all the incumbents in Congress, get reelected if they can deliver before the election.
Yes. And that's what it's all about. I believe that the average person, we all want the same thing and we don't know how to get there. And this is going to break it down so that you find out some of the words that you didn't understand, some of the words you understood, but then you didn't know what to do with it once you got the information. And that is so important that we know what we want to do with our economic and political system. And I want you to know that you will see us every day. So tune in. And if you have questions, you can address those to me at Joann. I'm Joann Cox 72 at gmail.com. And I'd love to bring some of those questions so that we can answer some of those things and you can get involved. And hopefully, if this happens as we continue the series, I hope Brian would be able to actually have a live chat with you. And we know that that would be lengthy in time. But again, this is Justified Jewel, hosted by yours truly, Joann Cox. And now, Brian, how can they communicate and talk with you?
You can visit my website, votewithbrian.com. And the reason I'm asking for people's votes in the November election is not for me. I'm not running for office, but instead I'm asking people to vote together with me across all 470 congressional all 470 congressional races nationwide as a union of voters so that we can collectively bargain for a better social contract. Joanne, I used to be serving the state legislature. Well, I spent most of my 30s there, and I saw the influence that lobbyists had on the political process, how they put their thumb on the scales. And so I
Mm,
realized that we, the people, can lobby for ourselves, not with millions and millions of dollars, but with our votes by demanding certain policies before the election, and being willing to support whichever people can deliver those. And so I've
And I
spent, go ahead.
and I want to state that we are here in North Carolina.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that,
absolutely.
that might be important for the our viewers to know.
It
Yeah.
is because North Carolina is a very divided state. We have a U.S. Senate seat here that's up for grabs. It's an empty
Mhm.
seat, and it's probably going to be about 75,000 voters that decide it, about 1% of the electorate. And so if you could get those 1% of the voters to say, look, we're going to decide the outcome of this, here's what we want for it, the red team and the blue team will have to negotiate. So we've got a pretty good set of things that we're to negotiate for, and I think we'll have an opportunity to talk more about those um, tomorrow and in coming days.
Yes. And thank you again for being here. And just want you to know that the next episode will be Dr. King and the Principles of Nonviolence. So tune in and we'll see you next time. Thank you for being here.